All right, welcome back. This is the Officer Dominic Izzo channel. I am Dominic Izzo. I'm a retired police officer from the northwest suburbs of Illinois. This is Cop Talk Live, changing cop culture. If this is the first time you're joining, switch to Wednesday nights. Used to be on Thursday nights, but we're live every week to talk about cop issues. Mostly, if you've never seen this channel before, this is the live format where I go over police use of force issues, you name it, in an effort to change cop culture. Now, if you've ever seen my approach before, I'm a little bit of a thorn. I'm a little bit hardcore, and you may think that I am an anti-cop. I'm not. I'm anti-bad cop, and I believe that every cop is in a system of inherent crap that needs to be changed, and the influence police officers face on a daily basis isn't that damn hard to change, making all cops bad to a degree. I believe in negative reinforcement. I grew up in a time where if you looked at me and you said, man, I believe in you. You can lose weight, Dominic. Oh, my God, you can get in shape. I'd go, oh, okay. But if you go, man, you're a fat piece of crap, I'd go, oh, now I want to lose that weight. Negative reinforcement works for me. So if you're new to the channel and you're like, man, you rag on cops a lot, yeah, it's because I want them to be better. I believe that pressure testing does make it. Pressure on coal makes the hardest pressure makes them into diamonds, and the hottest steel forges the strongest of swords. This is brought to you by Spreely TV and Spreely.com. Go check out Spreely.com for more shows like ours, The Rants of Izzo, which is live Monday through Friday. It's a stream of consciousness. We cover everything from porn to politics. You've got the Burn Pit podcast, Report and Opine, Pete Santilli, Shannon Joy, Evening Rants, and more. So big thank you to Spreely. I will be checking the chat every now and then. I've got a number there. If you feel like calling, I'm backed up on voicemails. I will get a hold. I will play your voicemails. I will take you guys calls. If I think we should be live today with some time to take some calls. But 708-982- 0974. And you can always email me at officerdominicizzo.com. I'm going to do this first, and I'm going to try to get through. I was good before. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get, that's going to suck for a little bit. I have to pay tribute to this man. This was a coworker of mine. Give me a second. So this is Officer Commander Chris Cortez. And he was with the Round Lake Beach Police Department. Phenomenal human being. Just absolutely phenomenal human being. And he passed away a couple days ago. I'm not sure from what, but I want to give him, shout, accolades, plug in for a second. And I found the news of his death the other day, and it kind of sucked. Wasn't killed in the line of duty. It wasn't a shooting, wasn't an accident, but it was natural causes. And it made me realize that I rag on cops. I rag on, son of a bitch. I rag on cops all the time. And I wasn't that close to Chris. He came on the department, I want to say, if I got an 01, maybe 03 he came on, 02, 03. And he came from Oak Park, Illinois, and he's a couple of years older. And I'm going to tell you flat out, he threatened me. I had been with the department for a couple of years. I'm on afternoon shifts, so of course I'm hot shit. And I'm thinking I was 28 at the time. And this is my job. This is my department. We got a guy who lateral transfers in. And because he was older, because he came from a suburb closer to Chicago, I was intimidated. He threatened me. I was intimidated of him. And I would go to calls, and you got to mark your territory, right? Or I'm going to show you how it's done around here. He humbled the shit out of me. He's one of those guys, and I'm not bothered by his passing. I don't know his faith. I believe that if you're saved, then he's living his best life ever right now, so that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the regret where I talk a lot of shit about cops, but I never told him to his face that he's one of the few that actually shaped my career the right way. The way that this man had the ability to go to calls and his presence, he had great command presence. He was a caring man. He was not a pushover. When it came down time for hands-on, Chris, no fucking problem, jumped right in the pile, and he was no pushover. He could take care of himself, had your back all the time. If Chris had a problem with you, he never would delay going to calls. Not a slob whatsoever. The man was in shape. He was a father, husband, cared about his community, did not treat people like shit. Didn't do it. Didn't condescend. Didn't placate. Didn't motherfuck people on calls. And if he joked about you in the squad room or the call in the squad room afterwards, it was in the privacy of behind the scenes where cops share that in a debriefing manner to de-stress, if you will. Never, ever, ever disrespected people on the street that I saw. And when I got to see how he operated with people, I went, man, I'm all fucking piss and vinegar. This man is level-headed. And I started to change, started to change the way I policed. So, and it's not like, I don't really talk to anybody from my departments anymore. A lot of them want nothing to do with me, and I don't blame them for the way that my rhetoric is. But, we maybe emailed or DM'd 2 or 3 times since I left. And the last time it looked like I just checked, it was like about a year or 2 ago. So it's not like we communicated ever. I just have a massive level of guilt knowing that, shit, there are men that I should have reached out to, or I still should reach out to and say, whether or not you like how I am, you made a very big impact in how I policed and how I saw the citizens. So the village of Round Lake Beach in Lake County, Illinois, lost a phenomenal ambassador for law enforcement. Just the totality of how he policed, from a caring, fair, and sometimes when it needed to be, disciplinary hand, if you will. And he just treated his coworkers fantastic. He treated the citizens fantastic. He was rightfully one of those guys that when he got promoted, it was after my time. It wasn't like anybody who says that he was, you had those guys who got promoted. You're like, oh, what the fuck is this guy getting promoted? He's not one of those. He was one of those that when I found out about his promotion, I'm like, this is extremely well-deserved. So, it's very sad news that Commander Chris Cortez from the Round Lake Beach Police Department, my first department that I started with, passed away. And I am extremely sorry that I never got to let you know that you made one of the biggest impacts on my career. All right, let's get into some stuff today. And before I get into today's video, which is something with me, I got to play some videos, if you will. Excuse me, I got to play some voicemails and get back on track here. You guys can always leave a voicemail at 708-982-0974. It's 708-982-0974. And I got to listen to what you have to say.
Hi, this is Beverly Thompson. I live in Arkansas. I'm really disturbed about this poor little squirrel that was happy in its home being killed because of somebody's stupidity. It's amazing how they let people kill people and rape people and don't do anything about it, but yet they go into a home and take a squirrel and kill it when the squirrel was happy with its family. That squirrel was just like a dog to someone that loved it, and I think it's just a shame what's happened to our government.
Well, I did a video on that, and you could check it out, the Officer Dominic Izzo channel. I broke that down yesterday. And a lot of the videos, if you're watching the live stream and you want more content, I do a lot of long format videos, and a lot of them based on the nature of the content get like that 18 plus, so they don't get circulated as much. But I broke that down yesterday, and as it turns out, that was nothing more than police who are jealous of a woman who has an OnlyFans and did not like whatever their lifestyle, and they fucking abused it. And it just goes to show more cops who, if you think, remember, now I just gave praise to a man who served his community beautifully. So when you say not all of my contents are generalizations. All of my comments are generalizations. The police proved during the pandemic and with incidents like this that they'll choose paycheck over we the people, any day of the week and twice on Sunday. I showed a video a couple days ago of a couple cops going hands on. The cops are at the football game going hands on, and they're beating the shit out of people. I dare those cops, white cops, go do that in a group of black kids who are doing those street takeovers. And, I want to see how you react to that. You won't see it done. Bottom line is, it doesn't surprise me with that kind of bullshit because it's the path of least resistance for cops, and they're going to do that to keep their paycheck. Let me play another one, and then we'll move on to some stuff here.
Dominic, this is Paul in Texas, and I just saw your video about the white cop and the black person, and the black person said, call a supervisor because he got me scared because he was running around a roundabout in the guy's rearview mirror looking for somebody to pull over, which the black guy was probably right because what you said about black people being scared of white cops, afraid they're going to get killed, is totally true. It's totally true. Because in Texas now, we had a situation back there in 2014. A black woman called the police to a situation. A white cop, he ends up arresting the black caller. And now, about a month ago, he took the law into his own hands when somebody hit and ran his vehicle while he was driving a road rage. And now the black community is saying, yeah, you should have fired him a long time ago. So it is what it is. Because like you said at the end of the video, if you can't handle it as a white cop, maybe you should find a different line of work. You are so truthful, brother. I love your brutal honesty. Have a great Wednesday in Illinois. Bye-bye.
I appreciate that. And if the last 15 seconds you guys didn't hear that, I apologize. One of the channels cut out and on the board, so I don't know if that went through or not. All right, let's continue this. This was sent to me. Let me give credit here. Hang on a second. I want to address the text message. Who sent this video to me? This is from area code 310. This says the female detective did a terrible job for Polk County, Florida. They do not have dash cameras or body camera cameras in Polk County, Florida, which I think it's unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. You have cops probably out there, especially with Grady Judd's rhetoric. It's just not the way that I would police. You can be, the more transparent you are with law enforcement, I think that when it comes down time to use a heavy-handed approach in righteous use of force, you're easier to defend. You're easier to defend. But how many cops are going to be bouncing guys' heads off the squad car, off the curb, and you got the hillbilly folk of Polk County who are like, yeah, Grady Judd's keeping us safe until it's your turn. It's back to blue until it happens to you. It's just Gestapo policing. You saw that from Sheriff Mark Lamb, who he also admitted on a podcast, that he became a cop because he saw that you could, rough people up and carry a gun. And of course, he's got, Frank Sloop, who I got my disagreements with Frank. I think he's again, we had a falling out because of a personal issue, but I don't like the way that Frank speaks to people on traffic stops. He speaks to them like they're assholes, and I've told him that on a podcast that we did together. I think it's just wrong, but that's from the sheriff on there. So who else is doing that stuff and abusing people when they're on the job like that? Grady Judd is a narcissist sociopath. You know how much dirty stuff. That's an opinion. I don't know. One of Grady Judd talks about Crime Stoppers, but I don't believe they really pay people money. That's okay. I got all that. You sent me the video. I think it's fantastic. And we're going to take a look at it together. So this is today's content. Florida teen is forced to collect her own evidence to prove she was sexually abused. I know nothing about this. I just took this from that it was sent. You guys do send me some awesome content to Officer Dominic Izzo on Gmail, and we're going to watch this together.
If you're a victim of a crime, to go to the police and report it. But what happens when they don't believe you? From the Center for Investigative Reporting, Rachel DeLeon has the story of how far one child had to go to prove her innocence. And a word of caution, this story involves details of child sexual abuse.
In the fastest growing county in America, Polk County, Florida, its longest...
Now, keep in mind, for defense purposes only, to defend the police, you're not going to get the totality of the issues that's out there. The news is going to take whatever they have, redacted reports, it would be fragments of body camera footage, maybe fragments of interview footage, not the whole thing. And as long as it is factual, they'll put it out into a story. They'll piece it together and what's the news's purpose? To engage, for ratings and sponsorship. That's all it is. So literally, and you've seen that. I don't care which side of the political aisle you're on. They will take whatever candidate A said and candidate B said, and they'll put it up. One news outlet will do one thing, one news outlet will do another thing, and you know how it goes. So, I can't say whether or not that this is the totality of the circumstances, but considering the fact this video is only a week old, I highly doubt it.
Serving sheriff Grady Judd has a large media presence and delivers unapologetic, tough-on-crime messages, like this one about an armed man involved in a car chase.
And he chose to die in a gunfight. We accommodated him. He said he wanted to go to heaven. We made the arrangements for him.
I think that shit is bullshit, Grady. It's not your fucking job. So what you're doing is, when you do this shit, you put your officers in a position where they've got rock hard cocks getting ready to kill people because you just gave them permission. You gave them the blessing. It should be one of the most somber experiences for a police officer to use deadly force that would result in somebody choosing their life ending. Make no mistake about it. He's right on a lot of areas. It is the choice of the subject, most times, who's either impaired on drugs or alcohol, because no rational human being makes the decision that they want to fucking go out and die that day, unless they're suicidal, which then too is a mental condition. But to say this shit, you're attracting bloodthirsty fucking thugs, and they're no better than the citizens you're dealing with, the shitbag criminals. So I have no respect for you with this shit. You do it because you're now social media famous. Be a fucking man and a sheriff and walk up to the microphone and go, our officers had to do a job that is thankless. It's horrible at times. And somebody decided to break the law to put my police officers in a position to do deadly force. My prayers are for all involved, including the officer who had to pull the trigger. This is how you get people to hate the fucking police. You've got your citizens who think this is a problem that you citizens of Polk County don't get through your thick skulls. What happens when he successfully chases all criminals out of your county? And I know that's not a task that's ever going to happen. Well, now you got all these attack dogs. You think they could be converted to little lap dogs? You get perfect, zero crime, right? Grady Judd ran them all out of the county because they're terrified to get shot and killed and ventilated. We ran out of bullets. That's why we didn't shoot them anymore. Now all of a sudden it's your turn. When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. The disease of sheriffs like Grady Judd is the fact that he might be great at this. His message is one of intimidating criminals. But sadly, I used to agree with that. I don't anymore, because today's victim is tomorrow's offender and vice versa. Grady Judd's own mother, if she was alive today, she could have a psychotic fucking break, grab a pistol. Does that mean, and I don't even know if his mom's passed away, if she is alive, does that mean that he's going to have the same damn treatment by his officers? Light her up, boys. He's a fucking dangerous, dangerous man. And for those of you who love this shit in his county, you're taking the weakest link out there, his basic street deputies, who have carte blanche with no patrol cameras on their dashboards or on their body cameras. I will bet you if Polk County heard of my podcast, that residents would call up with their experiences. A lot of you might love him, but someday it will be your turn in those guys' targets.
Running this fall for his 6th term in office, he's a popular sheriff, once invited to the White House by then-President Donald Trump to discuss issues facing sheriffs, and later asked to join a federal council overseeing all programs related to missing and exploited children. He's made it his department's priority to go after child predators.
We'll go to the ends of the earth to arrest you if you victimize children.
Why punishment?
That's a phenomenal statement. Let's hear that again. That's probably the smartest thing you've ever said.
If you victimize children.
priority to go after child predators.
We'll go to the ends of the earth to arrest you if you victimize children.
That's your job, Judd, to arrest people and then send them to the courts. But we all know the broken court system, to where the court systems, they're supposed to be the ones that administer punishment. I think somewhere in your mind, you believe to cut out the fucking middleman. And don't think for 1 second that I'm soft on criminals whatsoever. And don't think that I'm above abusing my authority, and maybe I've thrown a shot in or two or cranked up those handcuffs, or maybe somebody's taken a nasty spill on the way into the squad car. You know, I'm not proud of the shit I've done, but when you mature and you step back and go, I'm a fucking public servant, and if I cannot control my emotions, I have no business on this job. I will bet you if there was some type of futuristic camera that was able to be inserted into the minds of Grady Judd's sheriffs, that you would get an overwhelming number that were waiting for their turn to pull the fucking trigger. If that's what you want for law enforcement, then you know what? More power to you. I hope you get to live in that world.
Why punish me? What did I do for you to punish me?
But Taylor Cadle's extraordinary case raises questions about how, despite Sheriff Judd's tough-on-crime rhetoric, his department treated a child victim as a criminal.
Nothing that I did was I in the wrong. At all.
Taylor had a traumatic childhood. The state took her away from her birth mother when she was 7.
Just because of my experience going into this, and this is it. I'm going to side with the police on this one. And let me explain something to you. If we're talking, I was a cop and I know human nature. And when you present to me information of a female coming from a troubled past, looks like she already has kids, she doesn't look older than 25, I will pass judgment that this kid was a fucking problem and known to law enforcement to begin with. I'm getting those vibes already, right? That's just the cop in me. Your 911 called. We're going over to so-and-so's home again. Oh, shit. This is the bratty little fucking 14-year-old who wants to be emancipated, blah, 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 mouths off to her parents. She's dating a 19-year-old guy. I'm getting, that's where my prejudgment is going right now. That's where it's going. Just to give you a hint, I'm not arbitrarily on her side, and I've already established I don't like the mindset of Grady Judd either. So I'm trying to take a good partial side of it, but again, I'm just giving you my viewpoint on all this crap.
Due to violence and neglect at home. After a year and a half in foster care, she was adopted by her great-uncle, Henry Cadle, and his wife. But within months, she says he began sexually abusing her.
I kept it secret because going through foster care, it was already so much of a traumatic experience that I was scared to go back.
Over the next 3 years, she says Henry Cadle used long car rides to abuse her off this road. One day in 2016, Taylor disclosed the abuse to an adult member of her church, which launched an investigation by multiple agencies.
Okay, well, how old are you?
Almost 13. I'll be 13 in October.
That week, Taylor was asked to recount what happened to her several times. In a recorded interview with a child welfare worker, she went into detail, hoping she'd be believed.
And he pulled over on the side of the road and told me to get in the front seat.
But in a separate interview recorded by Sheriff's Detective Melissa Turnage, the tone turned confrontational.
If you're mad because you got your phone taken away, let's say that now and be done with it.
From the get-go, she was rude. Simple.
Rude is perception, and perception is going to be your reality. And we just heard literally 2 sentences come out of that sheriff's mouth. So again, I don't know what this Detective Melissa Turnage's experience is. You go, and I love how they piece this together. You got the big, fat, soft social worker. I can't. There's a social workers, and I know some of them. Some are great, and some I'm like, oh dear God, you guys are looking to create problems. I know they're trained not to ask leading questions, but a lot of them, I mean, for the most part, people get involved in any type of psychology, it's because they're looking to heal their own trauma, and they do project it onto others. Again, I'm generalizing on that one, but here you have this.
But in a separate interview recorded by Sheriff's Detective Melissa Turnage, the tone turned confrontational.
You got the tone turned confrontational. How far along in the conversation were we? So we don't have that either, right? So already this video is on the bias of vilifying police. It is what it is. Remember, I crucified Judd in my opening comments. I don't like how he is, but I'm not going to sit there and arbitrarily think that they're not doing their job in certain aspects.
You're mad because you got your phone taken away. Let's say that now and be done with it.
From the get-go, she was rude. Simple terms, rude. When she continuously asked me the same question over and over, I almost told her she should probably write down what I'm saying because I didn't feel like she was listening.
Turnage treated Taylor less like a victim and more like a suspect.
That's perception again. We don't know that. That's just the perception, and we don't have, so far, footage of anything.
Do you want to go live back in foster care? Because more than likely, if he's arrested, they're not going to let you stay there. But if it's not the truth, you're fixing to hurt a lot of people.
Everything I told you earlier is not a lie.
Still, Turnage concluded that Taylor made it up. The detective wrote that she couldn't find Henry Cadle on gas station security footage buying condoms like Taylor said he had. And she couldn't pinpoint the location of the assault on that long stretch of road.
Okay, so the cop sat there and took the evidence that she, or the accusation she was given, and the police department was unable to find evidence that substantiated the claims. Do you want them to lie? Again, I don't know how many of you have children or how many of you were kids, and we know how easy it was for us to lie. Not to mention the fact we live in a Me Too world. Remember, I'm not victim shaming or victim blaming, but I am so cautious now when you hear women, and this is the other thing too, I went through years of watching how women abused the domestic violence laws where all they knew is they had to scratch their own face, scratch their own arms to get the husband. They thought that it would just get him removed for the night until he found out, why is he going in handcuffs? Because there's visible signs of a domestic battery. He has to go to county now. He's got to be out of here for 72 hours. Oh, I just wanted him removed. That I've seen that more times than I care for. So again, a generalization. Women are phenomenal at lying and creating stories and playing victim. I'm not saying that's what she did. I'm saying when it comes down to leveraging law enforcement, they are superior at it than men are. And if that bothers you, log the fuck off, go watch another channel. I'm giving you the reality of law enforcement. That cop probably interviewed her and has probably dealt with her numerous of times. And you know what? She got an opposing side of the viewpoint. Hey, if you're pissed at your uncle for taking your phone and you're trying to get him in trouble, you're going to go back into foster care. What's nothing wrong with saying that? Nothing wrong at all.
Every interview that we talked, she made me out to be a liar. And I told her time and time again that I am not the liar here.
There is no excuse for the manner in which this case was handled.
Jerry Seitz, a forensic expert who's worked with thousands of child abuse cases, listened to the interviews between Turnage and Taylor. She says Turnage's techniques were inappropriate, especially because very few children, less than 4%, fabricate stories of sexual abuse. Okay, let's talk about that 4% that does then. Why is the exception doesn't disprove the rule? So you do have children. She could fall in that less than 4% that does it. You want to send a man to prison who, and ultimately, I think if they put this story out, it's because he was guilty. But my God, it's the job of the police to make sure that the job is done the right way. And we don't know, again, because nothing's recorded. So all you got was 2 statements by the police officer. And already they're being vilified. Oh, they didn't do it the right way. They victimized this girl. You've done this too many times where you guys as citizens expect your cops to be fucking social workers. You show up to these little shithead, undisciplined kids. And this is how this has come to today. And sadly, this poor girl is the victim of society's standards and norms, right? You don't discipline your kids in the home. And it makes it all the way to some cop then dropping a kid for mouthing off to him on the street. And you as the citizen, the bloodthirsty crowd is all like, yeah, do it again. He didn't get it at home. He's got to be. You expect your cops to be disciplinaries until it comes to this, right? So you want a cop to pile drive a kid who stepped to him and mouthed to him on a call because he was a male who didn't get discipline received and owned by his father. But you got a girl
And women are far more nefarious, far more vindictive when it comes to their masquerade of how they pass along information that's false to get people in trouble. But you want them to believe all women. Believe all women. Hashtag toxic masculinity. And she was interviewed by a female cop. So which is it? What do you as the public want? Start thinking about that before you go to your next village hall meeting and ask the mayor.
But kids with traumatic histories are less likely to be believed.
Kids who have that history of adversity are the perfect victim because their offender knows they're not going to be as credible because they've had this difficult life.
There's no way with the details that I gave or the things that I said or certain locations that I could have fabricated that big of a story.
Yeah, sure it is. It can. They're called actresses. They do it every day in Hollywood. They get paid for a living to read a script, and their job is to pretend for a living. Again, if this turns out, I'm just pointing out. I'm not attacking her. I'm attacking the high possibility, the likelihood, and the reality that young, troubled teens lie. That woman just said it. Cops don't believe them. Why? Because they have a history of doing this. So I don't blame the police for taking that stance. Well, I want to see. We're 4 minutes, 30 seconds into this. I want to see what is her past. But you got juvenile records. Can't see them. How many times has she been into juvenile detention? How many times has she been arrested? How many times police contacts do they have with her? If you put all that fair information out there, you're going to get a clearer picture. It just is what it is.
There was no way.
Instead of Henry Cadle going to court, 13-year-old Taylor faced a judge for a charge of lying to police. She had no lawyer, only her adoptive mother, Henry Cadle's wife.
I walked into that courtroom, scared out of my mind, and my mom told me in the car to just plead guilty and get it over with.
She was sentenced to 1 year of probation with community service. She also had to write 2 apology letters, one to her abuser and the other to a sheriff's officer. Taylor's experience is like hundreds of sexual assault cases I found nationwide as part of a years-long investigation into police charging alleged victims with lying. Due to privacy laws, I could find only a handful involving children, one as young as 11. Throughout, there was a pattern of police missing crucial steps in investigations. But Taylor's case is unique because she vindicated herself.
My on-call phone rang, and it was the on-call supervisor for my unit.
Joel Dempsey was the detective assigned to the case when Taylor called the police to report she was sexually assaulted again.
There was a previous investigation.
That might trigger police to do more investigation, especially considering the fact if she went to court, she was found guilty in whatever juvenile court proceedings, forced to write letters to the police and the alleged offender. If she came forward and made another claim, that would be like, whoa, we need to look into this. But if you go back, it's hindsight is 2020. What do you expect your police to do? They don't have all the resources in the world to wind up taking care of these things. And God knows, if you've ever been in law enforcement, I don't know that like some departments, the counties and the underfunding and the resources available and how long it takes to get shit done, it's a 3-ring fucking circus. And the caseloads that these officers have to do. So, the public wants everything done snappy and on time and prompt. But you don't. It's hindsight is sadly one of the most disturbing realities of the job.
That the victim was on probation for, and then I also learned that new evidence would prove that some of the victim's statements were true.
Using her cell phone, 13-year-old Taylor made sure she got bulletproof evidence this time.
She had taken some photographs with her phone. She also took pictures of an empty condom box, as well as the clock on the vehicle, and then a short video of what appears to be the suspect walking around the truck.
This is the exact phone that I used in the 2017 case. I pulled up the camera, and on this specific phone, if you just tap the screen anywhere, it just takes a picture. So in my head, I was like basically kind of like swiping, but in reality, I was taking pictures of everything that was happening.
Just like last time, she detailed the abuse to a child welfare worker, but with one big difference.
Everything that they didn't find evidence for last time, I kind of tried to make sure that it was there this time, just so that way my story would get believed.
The photos she took with her phone were graphic.
So it was very shocking to see that, very sad, but a fantastic thing that she was able to collect it.
That you got this time that the other cop didn't get last time, and the other cop went based off of the information that was given. The other cop chose to go a route to make sure she wasn't lying. I don't blame that other cop at all. You lucked out. You got evidence. What were they supposed to do? Here's the damned if you do, damned if you don't. That cop's like, oh, sweetie, I believe you. Now, whatever the case is, right? Then you vilify this guy, ruin his life. We all know you can't put toothpaste back in the tube. Go watch the movie Doubt with Meryl Streep, where the priest is accused of child molestation and it didn't happen. And he says, take the pillow full of feathers and scatter it all over the place. Now go collect all those feathers. Put them back in the pillow. Can't fucking do it. And it sucks. And the police are always blamed. What are they supposed to do? Go, hey, go next time. Yeah, get your camera out and go take some pictures. Well, we can't help you. You're asking. You want so much from the fucking police. It's ridiculous.
In Henry Cadle's recorded statement to Dempsey, he was adamant he was innocent.
I got the impression that because of the previous investigation and the result of it, that he felt somewhat secure. But I want to ask you plainly, did you touch her?
No, hell no.
Now's the time to tell me. So I can get out in front of it. We can try to handle, figure out what's going on.
No, nothing happened.
At 4:30 a.m., the detective confronted Henry Cadle with the evidence.
Hey, Henry.
Hey.
You wanted to see what I got here? The pictures?
Sure.
See this?
Okay. Okay.
You know who that is?
Yeah.
Who?
It's me.
Henry Cadle was sentenced to 17 years in prison for sexual battery.
I want to hear more. We got pictures. Where's more? That's all you're going to put out that shows that he's guilty of sex. This is why defense attorneys too are so crucial for this country. You have to. For those who do not know, my police chief was involved in 3 substantial cases in Illinois, and I'm going to be covering them soon. The Lieutenant Charles G.I. Joe Glenowitz case, Fox Lake Lieutenant, Melissa Kaluzinski, and Marnie Yang. And you can look at all of them. Marnie Yang is sitting and rotting in fucking prison for confessing to a crime that she didn't do, which was to kill former Chicago Bear, 1985 Chicago Bear, Gail Sayers, or Sean Gale. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I think it's Sean Gale, not Gail Sayers. His 9-month pregnant girlfriend. Melissa Kaluzinski is sitting in prison rotting for confessing to a crime after being bullied for 16 hours with no food, no water, no phone call. She was a girl with a 70 IQ, and she confessed to killing a toddler, which forensic evidence has proved she didn't do. And she's still sitting in prison. My chief interrogated and bullied her for that. And for those who don't know about the Fox Lake G.I. Joe Glenowitz case, go Google it. It was international. Cop gets killed by 3 people, 2 black guys, 1 white guy. Giant manhunt for months, and all of a sudden it comes out he killed himself over embezzling shit and that. And it was all a fucking lie. My chief was involved with all 3. So when it comes to this kind of stuff, I want the totality of the evidence. I want to hear all this. You just heard this. This is all that they put out. This you have to think about this for a second. You're the public, and you just got played at the beginning of this video, Sheriff Grady Judd, who I don't fucking agree with what he said. He sounds like he wants his deputies to go kill people, but you have to have a caveat that I want you to use force that will terminate their life-threatening behavior. If that results in their death, so be it, because it was lawful and it was the position they put you in by the force they chose. Got to fucking clarify that one, Grady. It's not making you look good. Now we got a girl who's put on here, and let's just say this video, this 10-minute, 57-second video is the only evidence you ever get. You have a girl who said she was sexually abused. She got video. We saw condoms in the video. We saw the roadside. We saw 8:30 on the clock, right? That's all we saw. Now we have audio.
See this?
Okay. Okay.
You know who that is?
Yeah.
Who?
That's me.
Henry K.
You just showed him a picture of, that's me. That's all you got. Cut to the next scene.
was sentenced to 17 years in prison for sexual battery of a minor.
On what other evidence? I maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt that they're going to tell the people what the other evidence was that convicted this man.
Taylor's criminal charge was overturned.
I don't remember any other case where the victim had the forethought or the intelligence to collect their own evidence and to be so thorough. Just unbelievable amount of presence of mind that she showed.
I reached out to Detective Melissa Turnage and her boss, Grady Judd, multiple times to ask for an interview. Turnage never responded, and Judd's office declined an interview and didn't answer repeated requests for comment.
Where was a person for Taylor? Where was a person to stand up to say stop and stop it now?
Where's the rest of the evidence? Listen, I know that we all love to vilify the police, and if you come to my channel, you know that I love to expose bad cops, but this video is propaganda. It's a 10-minute fucking video of you featuring Grady Judd, who I don't agree with his methods, his mindset. I just don't. And then you threw a cop under the bus for two statements. You didn't show the totality of her investigation. You didn't show how many hours. You showed that you confronted the suspect at 4:30 in the morning with photos. So that means he was being held. He read his Miranda rights. He probably waived his Miranda rights. You talked to him. You're doing the whole let him stew, put him in here. Hey, Henry, see what I got? I got your photo. You're lying to him in the beginning. Hey, now's the time to tell me, man. I got to get out in front of this. If we can take care of this the way we got to take care of it. You're giving him all the impression that you're going to help him. Awesome. If you have video, yeah, we actually have actual video of him physically raping her, abusing her. Why is that not put on here? Don't show the video, make the statement that it's on here. Maybe, and I gotta say, maybe I'm embarrassing myself. Please let me see. Is it in the documents here? It's got to be in the documents, right? The defendant has pled no contest to sexual assault, battery, familial custody authority was adjudicated, blah, blah, blah. The defendant is not to have any contact. You don't even show the evidence. This is property and evidence. This letter is my detailed sentence. You don't have that, and maybe it's available for you. Remember, this is the process of how I do my channels my videos on this channel. I watch the content with the exact same way you do, you the viewer, because I want to show you how we're right and how we're wrong. This video is completely unfair to the Polk County Sheriff's Department. Even though I'm extremely heavily critical of them, this is not a fair video. You're vilifying them without showing the number of times that this young woman had interactions with them, the history with them, the history or the relationship of this cop, the detective, and the suspect. You didn't show anything as far as the evidence that convicted this man or led to his conviction. You showed an audio tape. You see this? Yeah, that's me. Go to my Facebook page. Hey, Dominic, you see this? Hey, that's me. Oh, you're convicted of a crime. This video is propaganda for vilifying the police. It's all it is. It is taking a girl who, and I'm not going to lie, I don't want to be an asshole. Let's see. I'm assuming these are her kids. Well, she's clearly young and promiscuous, and that stems. I'm not kink shaming you at all. You want to hear more on that? I've got a podcast, And God Created a Woman. We talk all about the realities of this stuff. When you suffer from sexual trauma, you either go shut down or you go hypersexual. It's how it goes. It's the nature of that. But we don't talk about that either and how that leads to stuff. This is ridiculous. This is condemning the police.
Where was a person to stand up to say stop and stop it now?
Since 2002, Florida State Senator Lauren Book has been working on state bills aimed at protecting victims of child abuse. She sent a letter to the sheriff's office requesting they look into how the system failed Taylor the first time around.
It happened to Taylor, and Taylor is enough to fix the system.
Senator Book says charging Taylor and letting her be assaulted again was entirely preventable, and properly trained professionals should have intervened at multiple levels.
You need to have people who are properly trained and
Oh, dear God, go get your fucking lip filler done. This is ridiculous. What's your background? I don't even know. Yeah, this video I thought was going to go one direction, and it's seriously not. This video is a smear campaign to attack the police without showing any of the investigative process that the police did. That's all this is.
who are in it to do the right thing and really walk a survivor through this process.
So let's talk about being trauma-informed and what that approach means.
Oh, God, if you're going to send police to classes like this will be a 40-hour class, 40-hour for the week class, right? You go to it Monday through Friday, show up at 8 a.m. with your coffee, you get a bunch of notes, boom, there you're certified. It's a fucking joke. Police training is a joke.
Sites trains investigators and law enforcement officers on how to help children who come forward with allegations of sexual abuse. She believes this is what could prevent a detective from doing this to another child like Taylor.
Certainly forensic interviewing has just really made a huge difference in child abuse cases, having people who are highly trained and understand linguistics and child development and how to approach.
Key word is highly trained. Highly trained. You better start sending your cops to 4-year colleges for this stuff then. Give them the clinical hours they need. Go ahead and have them shadow the doctors and psychologists. Go ahead. The same training you got, start giving your cops that, and then pay them that salary as well.
Because so that they can gather accurate information in a neutral, supportive way.
Now a mom of 2, Taylor is healing by giving her children the kind of safety she never had. She says she never received an apology from authorities, but hopes they use the lessons from her case going forward.
I want for them to understand what they did and to clearly see where they messed up, to truly see what happened and fix it. Because no child should ever have to go through anything that I went through.
For the PBS NewsHour and the Center for Investigative Reporting, I'm Rachel DeLeon in Polk County, Florida.
This was nothing more than a hit piece on your law enforcement. That's really all this was, and it's
Grady.
That's ridiculous, man. For anybody who knows too, and I don't care what you think of my words on this, young women who are put in a position who have been sexually abused, sadly, go down a route again of either being shut down or highly sexually promiscuous. And my God, they don't think or act like normal young girls. Manipulative, Machiavellian even. Holy shit. I don't blame the police for the way they handled it based off of 2 statements that that a cop gave. I just don't. Again, and I came into this going, oh, it's Grady, Judd, oh shit, whatever. And then here's it is. The bias that PBS just showed, show the totality of the circumstances. Don't show the physical evidence, show in the documents, we had this evidence. Play the audio confession. They didn't even do that. Play the audio confession of the offender saying, yes, I did this. Show the sworn statement. As a whole, for the video only, for the video they released, this was detrimental for police. This created nothing more than people to go, fuck the police. They don't even help young rape victims. It's not fair. I'll condemn Grady Judd all day for his shit, but this one, he didn't deserve it all. It's as simple as that. I don't know. It's alarming, disturbing, and upsetting. And I can't get behind the support of this one. The cops do need to be trained better. But my God, they're not. You hear this, it's been 30 years. Police need more training. And they don't get it. And the training, trust me, if anybody's ever been to police training, it's a fucking joke. Or at least it was when I went there. Got to renew your certification. Okay. Take a seat. You got to sit for 4 or 5 hours on your shift at it. Just clicking the computer mouse. Yep. Not even reading anything. Clip. Yep. Oh, you're certified. There you go. You're in with compliance with the state law and what it needs. Awesome. Go to the range. Pass or fail. Out of 100 rounds, fucking 70 hit the target. What about those other 30? Well, you still passed. It's a fucking joke. It's a joke. And then you do this, you turn around. I have no idea, and I'll defend her. I don't know what the experience of the detective was, what her caseload was that day, where in the stage of the interview process was that with this young woman? Was it the first time they spoke? Did the cop? Do you have audio of the first time, maybe the first part of the conversation or the interview, or maybe was this the third interview? Hey, listen, tell me what I can do to help you. Tell me what's going on. Talk to me about your story. Where's the empathy? Did the cop get to the point where there were massive holes in her story, and then came back and say, "Listen, I don't have them on camera. Why do you think that is? Where did you guys go? Let's retrace our steps at this." There's a lot that is missing. This is an unfair, biased, police skewed for hatred propaganda purposes by PBS, and I don't friggin' like it. I think I got a text. Let me read real quick here. Remember, we moved this to Wednesdays for you guys. 918, can I collaborate with Tim Pool? Sure, give him a call. Let him know who I am. I actually met Tim Pool. I met him 2 Christmases ago, and I bumped into him at the grocery store. We took a photo together. So, yeah. So he does. By sight, he may know who I am, but I don't think that. And then 912. I got your, okay, you like to make a comment. That's great. Let me see. Let me play one more. I got a ton of voicemails. Hang on. Let me play one more for you. No, I'll just do one more voicemail because you guys, I got a lot to play. We'll do this one.
Hi, Dominic. This is Officer Tater Hater again.
Yeah.
Just wanted to call and check in. There is something that I do find disturbing about, and it actually has a little bit to do with what you had aired on one of your previous episodes earlier about Georgia SP, Georgia State Highway Patrol. And that particular episode, it was actually the pit maneuvers that they do and they overuse. My concern is, and this you haven't talked about yet, is false DUI arrest.
Yeah.
And that's really what bothers me. And could you go into detail on later on about that? Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, Tater Hater. I've seen some of those. We'll talk about them. If anybody has any commentary about what we just played in here, you can go ahead and call 708-982-0974. And you could discuss whether you disagree with me, agree with me, and thoughts on what you just saw for this video. But I appreciate you sending this to me. It sadly is a propaganda video for anti-police without the totality of the circumstances or all the evidence involved, if you will. And all right, I'll give it a second. And we'll play one more here.
Yeah, hi.
No, that's not the right one. Let me look over in the chat while I'm sitting here to see if anyone calls. And Mountain Mover says fabricating evidence. Dwayne Mansell, Grady Judd runs the most non-transparent department in Florida. He fought body camera for years. Henry DeShazo, dude, she was a minor. In your dreams, you're ever going to see that evidence creep. I didn't say that, Henry. Now, did I? Go back to your room and go back to touching yourself to your dad's Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Samuel, who coached her? She said no child should have to go through what I went through. Somebody coached her. There is that. There's a lot of that stuff. And I mean, it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Samuel, I appreciate supporting the channel. Guys, if you do like what you see over in the description down below, you go ahead and buy a copy of my book, Before the Badge, Everything You Need to Know Before You Become a Cop. It's available through wordsmatterpublishing.com on Amazon. You can also support the channel at Cop Talk Live on PayPal. We are 100% funded by you awesome viewers because YouTube loves to just censor the content because it's graphic content that we put up here. Go back. Bob Glenn says, this is what I don't like about Trump. He supports cops like this. I had a problem with that where his statement was he wants to get rid of federal immunity for police, and he didn't clarify that anymore at all. Lobster Lover, how many people has she accused too? I missed the first part of this, so just going off your commentary. That's the whole point, man. That's 100% how that is. It really is. All right, let's see this. Let me see if my audio is going through. And can you hear me? You're live.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey, what's going on?
I would
I wanted to say hello and thank you for what you do. I hope I'm one of the listeners you have that agree with you sometimes, disagree with you sometimes, but that's the way it goes.
Please, thank you. I respect that totally. I don't want everybody agreeing with me all the time. It'd be a shitty world.
So what I have a question on is when you're talking about this young lady right here, now obviously we're dealing with juveniles and everything else, and there's all types of things that can happen. But how does that fall under like the Supreme Court case, Castle Rock versus Gonzalez, where cops have absolutely no duty to protect the public? So pretty much they can look at her and say F you and walk on, and there's nothing there.
People have said that before, and I don't understand how that would apply, right? As human beings, I mean, shit. I've never really looked into that case. I have no knowledge of it, and people have been presenting that to me the last couple of weeks. So like, cops have no authority, no obligation to protect people, this and that. And I don't know how to answer your question, because does that mean that the next time somebody's car is on fire and a cop, all they had to do is open the door and get you out? Like, man, I'm not getting burned. I'm not doing that.
Well, I'll give you the real short rundown of it. Obviously,
Please.
If you want to do deeper dive. Basically, it was Castle Rock versus Gonzalez, Castle Rock Police Department. Lady had went to a judge, got a signed order from a judge, protection order against her husband for her and her kids. The husband ended up stealing the kids, kidnapping the kids. She called the police once. They said, we're too busy, don't have time for it, hung up on her. Called the cops again, said, we're too busy, hung up on her. Called the cops a third time. They said, too busy, hung up on her. When the cops actually did finally find this man, the kids were dead, and he ended up taking his own life. And she had signed protection order from a judge, everything. And, of course, she sued the Castle Rock Police Department. It went up through the district courts, got to the Supreme Court. And when they did a judgment on it, they said, the actual ruling in writing says cops have no constitutional obligation to protect the public.
No constitutional obligation. Yeah. So now that's to prevent, I would have to say, maybe federal lawsuits. Number one, it's to prevent them from being sued. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But does it apply to state too then, or only a federal level? Like on the state level, if I'm in Illinois and I'm a cop, do I have the obligation based on state constitution and state law? So I don't know if that's just constitutionally only.
Well, then I would ask this, since you probably know more about this than the rest of us do. When you take the Parkland school shooting, when the cops stood in the hallway for 45 minutes, waiting for, basically not even checking to see if the door's open. Only, 5 cops were fired and 1 cop was actually arrested. And the argument that they used is we didn't place them under arrest, so we had no obligation to protect them.
Yeah,
they did the same thing in, Uvalde is the one I'm talking about. I said Parkland, but that's what the cop did in Parkland too when he ran away. He said, I didn't have them under arrest. I had no obligation to protect them. So basically 40 kids died, or 40 mostly kids died. And he got out scot-free and even got his job back. And from what I read, he was able to sue the department for wrongful termination because he never arrested them. So he wasn't able to get, they wasn't able to charge him with a crime.
Yeah,
he had no duty to protect the kids.
I defended the Uvalde cops to a degree because the whole thing, they didn't gain entry for 45 minutes. That was turned out to be false. You had 2 cops who gained entry upon coming up on scene. The hallway issue is another story where they didn't breach. That, again, I don't know the totality of the circumstances for Uvalde, other than the fact that you might have had a ton of shitty trained cops who've never done rapid deployment training and building searches. I can't see how that would be done today. But in Parkland, the cop, didn't he hide for like
under the stairs.
Yeah.
He ran away, then he hid under the stairs while 19 children were being killed. Then he actually, the police department actually tried to do the right thing. They arrested him, and they actually put him in court and got before a judge. And his lawyer argued, said, hey, he wasn't under arrest. He had no constitutional obligation to protect those kids. And they set him free. Then he was able to go back and sue for wrongful termination.
Yeah, what blows me away on that one is, like, when you're saying all that, I'm going through he has no constitutional protection. I can bridge the gap and say, yeah, but that was child endangerment. If he knowingly, because that's how it is, right? You've heard the saying, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. It applies for law enforcement all the time. So if you say that, if I'm looking for some dude, you mean you were there, that if he was a parent and he was downstairs while the kids were outside in the backyard and they're all under 18 drinking booze, he'd go to jail for child endangerment for letting him do that. So now you got a guy, you're a grown man and you're allowing these kids to be murdered in the other room, child endangerment. So why can't we arrest him on that? Yeah, it blows me away how if you're a citizen, the cops will go to the ends of the earth to find a reason and a criminal charge to fucking prosecute you on. But when it comes to one of their own, not so much.
They don't.
Not so much.
It's like one thing I hear a lot of you say and your callers say is they need more training. They mean, well, what training makes the person do their job?
I don't fucking know, dude. I saw a great I saw a post today on Facebook from somebody who said, yay, we can go back to being police officers because Trump got elected. And I'm like,
yeah.
When the fuck did you stop?
Exactly.
When did you stop?
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's a joke. It's all a fucking joke.
All right. Well, I thank you, man.
I get the frustration. I appreciate the call. And please don't agree with me all the time. It's not fun.
No, it ain't. And I like some of the stuff you say, some of the stuff you think. I think you're a bootlicking asshole. But, that's between you and me. That's the way it goes.
God, I love men like you. Thank you. And that didn't come out the way it should have, but you appreciate it. Thanks, man.
All right.
Bye. 708-982-0974. 708-982-0974. Anybody's got something to say? Edward Lenovo says she reported the incident while riding his truck that afternoon when he pulled off the roadway, and she secretly videotaped him walking around the truck. The passenger, okay. She also photographed him with a lower body in the picture at the open. Oh, we got all that. I don't know what else continued to take photographs as he sexually abused her. If that's the case, great. So, Edward, going back to that's fine. Why did PBS not put that information? Just how you typed it in the comment section? Why didn't PBS put that in the video saying she also had photographic evidence of the suspect removing his clothing and sexually abusing her? If you had that in the PBS 10-minute and 57-second documentary, changes the game. But they didn't put that information, which leads everybody just creating the scenario in the head that apparently we don't know if it happened or not. You do. I appreciate that. Paul Rose, really? Do you think the guy would plead guilty if they didn't have incriminating evidence? Paul, I know we got a 25-second delay on the live, but you might want to pay attention when it comes down to what I said. Do I know he pled guilty? It goes back to what I said. Yes, there are 2 women who are sitting in prison, Paul. Melissa Kaluzinski, there are 2 48-hour specials on her by Aaron Moriarty that show that there's a mountain of evidence that prove Melissa Kaluzinski did not kill Benjamin Kingen. Go fucking check it out. Marnie Yang is also rotting in prison. Very suspect how these are 2 small, petite women, both with dark brown hair and brown eyes and features that are dark, right? Both interviewed, interrogated, bullied by George Falenko of the Round Lake Park Police Department into confessing to crimes that they didn't commit. You go ahead and look. Look up, oh crap, what's his name? The only lawyer that I ever fucking respected from Lake County, and I can't recall his name right now. It's drawing a blank. Her lawyer, Judd, oh my God, that's got to be him. Jed Stone, there it is, Jed Stone. Fantastic lawyer, criminal defense attorney from Lake County. He's got 700 pages of evidence that prove she didn't commit to it. So maybe you want to look into police and how they bully people into falsely confessing to crimes they didn't commit. Oh, you fucked your stepdaughter, right? You fucked your niece? We got evidence. On this phone, where's my phone? I've got evidence. I'm not going to show you. What? Here's a question. This is an interrogation question. Paul, hey, Paul. Is there any reason that I would have any video of you fucking your 13-year-old adoptive niece? Is there any? I'm just saying, Paul, your life is going to be over. Your wife's probably going to leave you. Your job. When this information goes out there to the public, man, nobody's going to look at you the same. And then you find a hole. You find a hole for one way for be like Christmas of 2012. You patted her on the head a little too inappropriately, and the family went, what was that? And then you start to place seeds of doubt that Paul did so. Don't fucking tell me the police do not know how to manipulate people in interrogations and interviews to confess the shit that they didn't do. Look at Lake County, Illinois. Lake County, Illinois is the #1 capital in the country of false confessions. Paul. Yeah, you're live. What's going on? Oh, I got to call you back. Hang on. Because you guys, I appreciate you waiting, but, it is what it is.
Hello.
Sorry I missed your call. What's going on?
That is okay. I was just calling to respond to the last caller about the officers not having the obligation. to protect.
Yeah, what do you got?
Generally speaking, I Googled it and I did kind of follow that case a little bit. They have an obligation to protect the Constitution and the public in general. They don't have an obligation to protect you if you call for help as an individual. So your 911 calls do not have, the dispatch can relay it. They do not have to serve and protect that. It's a motto that has always been used, but they don't have to help if they're not obligated to help constitutionally. And I don't know if that's per state, but I know federally.
It sucks all the way around. I never knew that. I appreciate you clarifying that. I never knew that.
And it says because the Supreme Court has ruled that the police have a general duty to protect the public, but not a specific duty to protect any particular individual.
I had no idea. I wonder if because by the nature of that language, then you create an obligatory bias.
Oh,
I wonder. I mean, they don't write shit up for this. You always have to look at the flip side of the coin when it comes down to it. Because I don't know, what is it? It's like you are obligated to protect people. Now all of a sudden, let's take it a step further. Well, that means you're obligated to protect marginalized communities more, blacks more, women more. Ooh, religious
right.
Jews more. They may take it down a whole different rabbit hole because when you place that obligation, when you say you're not obligated to protect anybody, that's blanket. Protect everybody, and the other side it could be too. But I could picture activist groups taking advantage of that a lot more.
But do you have to look? He had mentioned a school shooting.
Yeah.
So at what point does he pick this kid over this kid?
Yeah. Right.
So you can't choose the individual. But you have an obligation to protect the school as a whole.
Yeah, you'd have parents groups. Why didn't you go to the special ed classes first and protect those? Yeah,
exactly.
That makes sense. I didn't think about that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome, and you have a wonderful night.
You too. Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right. Anybody else want to call 708-982-0974? If you have any feedback on anything, remember we're doing this Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. Had to move it because I went back to coaching wrestling, and it goes late on Thursdays. And my God, I came home yesterday abused, beat up because my 50-year-old self can't get to terms that I'm 50. And not yet, but it's Scott Stillwell. Dominic, if you want to see a great group who does due diligence to catch predators, 841 Predator Hunters builds a binder with printouts of the conversations with the purpose decoy, along with photos, videos. That's disgusting, and it's awesome. I appreciate that. I was not a detective. I put in for detectives in 2014 and rescinded it because I'm like, nah, man, it's not my passion. I have no fucking desire to do it. I don't. I like working the street and going from there. 708-982-0974. I know we've been off for a couple of weeks because I appreciate that. I had 2 weddings to go to back to back. And I know you guys are like, man, where you been? This is where I've been. All right, let me see if there's more comments. Fluffy Bunny Arsenal. DeShaney versus Winnebago County DDS case for cops not having to protect. I appreciate that. This is information I did not know. Mexican American. This is the majority factor behind the second. People are only obligated to and legally allowed to protect oneself. Oh, it's kind of true on that one. Oh, it is what it is. Let me run through this one more time, see if I missed anybody. Samuel, I don't know if I thanked you already. Thank you. It's good to see you. Going back to the beginning. Hi, Sarah Nichols, Dead Prepper, Rachel Morgan. What are you doing? Melissa, well, my brother-in-law was forced out for doing something good, and he was a good cop. I'm glad he left the force, yeah. Scott, Richard G, Kevin, I'm trying to retrace and say hi to you guys. If you haven't seen, we do have several. I kind of want to pull this up so you guys could see this here in case you missed it really quickly. I'm going to switch this and go to here on our channel. There's videos you may have missed because YouTube kind of blocked and censored them. I don't know if you saw shocking reason that this could get you killed in a traffic stop, or here's my video on the police versus the squirrel issue. This is the football brawl right here. This video right here. I really wish you got you got to be 18 to proceed. I did a video on the breakdown of the officer who was stabbed and he shot this thing that chose their fate that day. This would apply and fit into the Grady Judd principle on a righteous level, but we're not celebrating this cop for killing somebody. We're celebrating this cop for actually having the perfect demeanor when it comes down to a use of force video, and it doesn't get circulated very well because of the 18 plus. So if you're looking for content, it is all over on the channel, and it's there. You can go check that out because it's hidden. Other than that, all right, hang on, 847. What do you got here? I watched the episode. They were damaging. Okay, I appreciate that. You watched the episode. 847 says, watch the episode. They were damaging. There were damaging videos of the uncle molesting the girl. Timestamps, pictures, videos. Awesome. Do you get my point? My point being is, if we watch the video alone that I played, and nobody, you're asking people to go forward and do information or research, and they don't. I cover all of my videos only with the content we're given. That's it. That's it. And based on that content given, it was like, what the fuck is this? So that's awesome. If he's convicted and he got 17 years, great. But why did PBS not put that information in there? It was completely anti-cop is what the purpose, that's what it is. It's the purpose of the PBS documentary was to vilify the Polk County Sheriff's Department. And even though I don't agree with Grady Judd, a lot of the shit he does, there's that. All right, guys, have a great damn night. I appreciate you tuning in. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, comment below, let me know what you think. Go ahead and, if you click on that PayPal, support the channel. Buy my book, Before the Badge, Everything You Need to Know Before You Become a Cop. I got more interviews coming up, too, with people for the channel, because you guys did like that. If you haven't watched the interview with Long Island Audit, please do. Fantastic conversation. And I will see you on the next video. Be safe out there, guys, and let's change cop culture together. Have a great night.